I've got 3 of the most popular tuning devices here for the Mustang. Give you a little bit of a head start as to which device you may want to pick if you don't have your heart set on one already. Some of the guys really do like the interface of either device and they stick with it because of that, where you can start editing your own car's tune file if you choose to do so. All that fun stuff that comes with tuning, it tends to be really complicated and it's not something that you should ever take lightly. What's going on, Team Lethal fans? It's Joe with Lethal Performance here. Today, as you can see, I've got 3 of the most popular tuning devices here for the Mustang out in front of me on the table, and I'm going to be going over custom tuning for the Mustang. Now, for those who are already fluent in custom tuning and have done it on either previous vehicles or another Mustang, this video might not be exactly what you're looking for here. What I'm going to be doing today is going to be breaking down each one of these devices here, just on a brief level, and then of course talking about the custom tuning options that come available with each of these and who on the custom tuning side actually does support each of these devices. Now, like I previously mentioned, I have the 3 most popular tuning devices here out on the table, at least for the world of Mustangs. We have on my right here, or your guys' left, the SET X4 programmer. In the middle, we have the RTD device from HB Tuners. And last but not least, we have the MP VI3 tuner from HB Tuners as well. Now, each of these devices definitely has their own quirks and of course has their own benefits to them, which makes them so popular in the industry. Now, I'm going to break down each one of these devices and of course the brand itself, give you a little bit of a head start as to which device you may want to pick if you don't have your heart set on one already. So let's go ahead and clear the table off of the rest of these for the moment and start talking mainly about the SET X4. Now, this is SET's X4 programmer, like I had previously said. This has been around since roughly late 2013, early 2014, and has been their premier tuning device since then. Now, they have had a previous generation of a very similar device called the SET X3 that's been around for quite a many years before. Now, this is going to be their newest and their most improved version of the device that they have out, except for the SET BDX, which the only difference between the BDX and the X4 is some Wi-Fi and cloud tuning capabilities, meaning you can connect it to smartphones and computers over the internet rather than through a hard wire to a laptop or computer. Although for a lot of guys out there, they still prefer to do it with the hardwired cable, which makes it still a very popular option. Now, the SET is a handheld programmer. Basically, it's a device that you hold in your hand, plug into the dash of the car through the OBD2 port, and also has a screen on it, which makes it super useful for guys who want to use it as a gauge cluster, because anything that can be read off the OBD2 port, such as coolant temps, boost, all sorts of different things depending on what year the vehicle is, you can actually view that on the SET in live time, so many of the guys won't have to go out and buy auxiliary gauges that will show that information otherwise. However, the SET already has that pre-incorporated into it through the OBD2 port, so if you guys are looking for that, that's definitely one reason why you'd want to go with this device. Now, another cool thing with the SET device is that it does come with some preloaded tunes from SET directly. However, these tunes tend to be a little bit on the generic side, and while you will increase power, torque, and also fuel economy, generally speaking, they aren't going to be the most performing out of any tune that you can get for it, especially custom tuning. Now, one thing with all SET programmers is that they work on a system of unlocks. And what these unlocks do is essentially each time you load a vehicle on with a tune and then clear it and put it back to stock and want to move on to another vehicle, that's going to use an unlock. Think of the unlocks as how many vehicles you can tune, different vehicles that is, before you have to go out and buy more unlocks. With that being said, you can only tune one vehicle at a time, and that goes for the majority of the tuners out there. The SET X4 comes with 5 unlocks from the factory, meaning that you can take this device and put it on 5 different vehicles at different times, of course. So now I've broken down the SET device, let's go ahead and go on to the HB Tuners devices. So with HB Tuners here, I've got 2 different devices out, both of which do the same things, just one does a ton more than the other, and it all depends on what you exactly need the purpose for and how much you plan to do on the car. If you basically just plan on doing a simple tune, not doing much more than data logging and sending it on the way, The RTD Plus here is perfect for that simply because it's limited to how much it can do. It's a programmer, data logger, and can also, of course, view any sort of ETC, DTC, and any other drivetrain related codes on the dash. It does not have access to the VCM editor, which is essentially the tuning software that HB Tuners uses and would use and give you access to if you had this, the MPVI3. Now, if you're looking to get into tuning and you're looking to tune your own vehicle or edit parameters or do all sorts of other stuff with the device, this is where you're going to want to be. This is what you're going to want to invest in because it allows you access to HB Tuner's VCM editor and can actually give you access to tune files where you can start editing your own car's tune file if you choose to do so. Now, that is a little extreme and I definitely don't recommend it to a lot of you guys out there because it gets super intense and super complicated when you start looking at graphs, numbers, all that fun stuff that comes with tuning. It tends to be really complicated and it's not something that you should ever take lightly to go ahead and try yourself, unless you're of course trained to do so or you're watching some YouTube videos, right? Because YouTube mechanics. But honestly, even if you want to have this on standby and you just want to do the custom tuning for the moment, do data logging, just the basics, you can always purchase this. And then later on down the road, if you get a little creative or if you have another vehicle that you do want to try to custom tune, you can always use this device for that purpose. This basically is just buying you the ability to do it, doesn't mean you have to do it. So another note with the HB Tuners is that they actually don't have any screens on them, meaning you are going to have either your smartphone or laptop plugged into the device in order to be able to tune or pull your stock tune file off or look at any parameters, do any data logging, stuff like that. So with that being said, it's kind of a factor that you want to have play in. If you want to have a screen or if you don't have any gauges or something like that, it's definitely something to think about. However, you still have that smartphone capability and you also have the ability to hook it up to a laptop, which oftentimes a lot of people like to hook it up to a laptop anyways, regardless of the brand of device, simply because it's nice to look at the data on a nice large screen versus the little screen on the device. You can do it either way, but I have to say that the HB Tuners devices work great. They work either off your phone, they work pretty good, and then of course off the laptop, it works astounding. Now HB Tuners does use a system of credits, of which you can actually check out the applications and supported amount of credits that you would need in order to use it on your vehicle in the link in our description. However, there are a certain amount of credits depending on what year your vehicle is and how complex the tuning is on it. For example, your 15 to 17 Mustang guys, you're going to be using a 2-credit device. For your 18 and up Mustang guys, at the moment you're going to be using a 4-credit device. 2020 GT500 guys, you're going to be using 8 credits simply because you not only have the engine tuning, but you also have the DCT and transmission tuning to go along with it. Now, as far as tuning support for each of these devices go and which of the custom tuners support which of the devices, the SCT X4 is supported by Palm Beach Dyno, Oz Tuning, Shoemaker Performance, as well as Ortiz Performance, and 5-Star Tuning. Now, with the HB Tuner stuff, you get that extra bump in here. You get Palm Beach Dyno, Lund Racing, you also get Shoemaker Performance, Oz Racing, Ortiz Performance, and 5-Star Tuning. Now, like I said, each of those do have some specific vehicles that they do support either or on, and some of them don't support others on certain vehicles. So you do have to double check with each tune and each tuner to make sure that they support your vehicle on this device if you choose to go with it. So just like how it is with your Android versus Apple debate, it's going to be the same thing going on here with the tuning devices versus SCT versus HB tuners. Some of the guys really do like the interface of either device and they stick with it because of that. They also like the look, they like the feel, they like the company itself. There's a million different reasons why you may want to choose that, and that's all up to, of course, your personal preference. However, you definitely want to double check with your tuner. A lot of the tuners are very specific on which device they prefer because of their certain different quirks and whatnot you have. So you just want to make sure that whatever custom tuner you go with, if it wasn't listed previously, that you want to make sure that you're getting the device that they prefer so that you get a proper custom tune at the end of the day. And of course, you want to make your tuner happy with a device that they're comfortable working with. Now, as far as all these tuners go, once you get them, you're definitely going to want to update the firmware on them, simply because a lot of the firmware that comes from these devices from the factory, it tends to be older versions, which of course have their glitches and quirks that they've worked out of them in and newer firmware. So definitely first thing you want to do as soon as you get the device is update it to the newest software and newest firmware before you install any new tunes or before you pull the OEM stock file off the car. Now, even though these tuners pretty much all work the same as far as letting you plug it into the OBD2 port, pulling off the stock file off the car, and then now allowing you to program the custom tune file onto the vehicle's ECM, there are still some custom tuners out there that have different operations as far as what order they want you to follow in. Basically, some of them have you either upload the custom tune file first, or they have you send off your base file and they will tune off of that. So definitely you want to make sure either to check with our blog pages here at Lethal Performance, where we give you a rundown of each of the custom tuners that have their own instructions per tuning, or if you have a separate tuner from the ones that we have here at Lethal, double check with them to make sure that you're actually tuning the vehicle in the correct order that they'd like you to do it. Now, if you guys still need some help in deciding a custom tuner and a custom tuning device, you can of course click the links in our description, as they have tons of information on each of our tuners, each of the tuning devices, and all of the neat things you will need to get some custom tuning done on your car. However, if you still have more questions after reading those, or you just want to reach out and talk with someone, you can always reach out with us here at 561-753-8105 or at support@lethalperformance.com. This has been Joe with Lethal Performance. Comment which tuner that you guys like below, and I'm out.